Post-Nuptials by Darth Link 22. Chapter 3. Rainbow Dash. The reception was just starting up, with Twilight first on the microphone, singing a tune to celebrate her brother's union with her favorite foal-sitter. Rainbow Dash had to stop in awe at her friend's excellent voice. No wonder Shining Armor was so adamant of her singing the opening song. The Pegasus sighed as she made her way through the crowd, looking at all the happy couples hitting the dance floor. The wedding had been much less stuffy than the Grand Galloping Gala, but it was still far from her usual taste. She was still here merely to make sure her damaged friendship with Twilight wasn't broken anymore. Despite the unicorn's insistence that all was forgiven, she felt no ill will towards the other bearers. Guilt still tugged at her heart.
Well, well, what do we have here?
A voice sounded from in front of her. She jumped. Having been so caught up in her own thoughts, she failed to notice the stallion standing in front of her. He was out of his usual uniform, but the Pegasus recognized him regardless.
Soren?
She asked, just a more of hint of glee in her voice. Indeed, the second in command of the Wonderbolts stood before her, for once not wearing his regulation flight suit. He tilted his head in a friendly manner.
So, now you're a bridesmaid at a royal wedding. You're just full of surprises, aren't you?
A slight blush crept into her face as she kicked out her front hoof awkwardly. Yeah, well, my friend's Twilight was the groom's sister, so I got lucky.
I see.
He laughed, his eyes moving up and down to take in the usual sight of the tomcoat in a dress, with flowers in her hair. Realizing she was being looked over, Rainbow blushed and looked away, while at the same time hating herself that she was acting more like Fluttershy than herself.
I don't usually dress like this,
she explained.
Heck, I hardly wear clothes at all, but, well, you can't really warm out of it for an event like this. The stallion smiled. Well, don't feel embarrassed about it. You look very nice.
Rainbow Dash's face turned the same shade as the top of her mane.
Don't tell me you're still starstruck,
Soren said, actually looking disappointed.
You know I'm still a regular Pegasus. You don't need to. No, it's not that, the bear asserted. It's just stallions don't usually give me this type of attention.
She looked away, embarrassed to admit this.
I mean, my friends Rarity and Fluttershy have no problem. Well, Fluttershy wouldn't if she just grow a backbone in. Would you like to dance?
Soren asked suddenly. Rainbow turned and looked at one of her heroes with surprise.
What?
Now Soren was blushing.
I mean, it's just a shame that you get dressed up and not get to dance with a handsome gentlecoat. And since I'm the closest thing around, thought I'd make the offer. I really don't know how to dance. I mean, not like Caroline ponies.
Soren just grinned.
Neither do I.
Rainbow Dash offered no further resistance as the Wonderbolt hurled her into the crowd, eventually coming to a stop. They then began to dance. Well, calling it dancing might have been generous. It was more making jerky movements which, if one squinted right, could have been seen as being in rhythm with Twilight singing. Fortunately, by this point, the bride and groom were dropping formal dancing as well, beginning to let their happiness intoxicate them. As a result, none of the guests noticed the two Pegasus ponies making complete fools of themselves. As Twilight finished her song, the two broke apart, laughing like school fools at their own antics. A second number started up, this time with Pinkie taking the microphone and singing out her own tune. They went back to making jerky movements some more, which seemed to fit with anything the Pink Earth Pony sang. Another song, this one passed back to Twilight, resulted in another dance. Finally, the microphone was passed to Octavia, who turned out to have quite a lovely singing voice to go with her skills on the cello. However, she sang a slow song, so Rainbow Dash and Soren excused themselves from the dance floor, heading to a table.
Well, that was fun, the Pegasus Bear was giggling. I think I was only slightly more harmful than Twilight's dancing. She's that bad, huh? You should have seen her at our last birthday party. Really freaked out the upper class,
she said as he took a seat.
Well, now that we successfully embarrassed ourselves at a high society event, how about a drink?
Her companion offered.
That'd be nice. Great, wait here, I'll be right back,
he assured, excusing himself over to the buffet table. Rainbow Dash sat back as she took in what was going on. See, what was on could possibly considered a date with one of her idols. Even though he was only about a year older than her, Soren had risen through the ranks of Wonderbolts to become Spitfire's #2. The fact that someone so powerful was being so friendly with her was beginning to sink in. She took in a few deep breaths. She couldn't go into fangirl mode again, Soren clearly liked her, so there was no need to try so hard. All she had to do was relax and be herself.
Rainbow Dash?
A tiny voice asked. The rainbow maned pony turned to see Scootaloo standing at her side, looking excited.
I saw you dancing with Soren. Are you guys on a date? Is he your special pony? What's he like?
Raven Dash racked her brain, trying to think of a polite way to get rid of her #1 fan.
Little kid, you see.
Then she stopped, as a certain thought overrate entered her head.
You already let one friend down today. Actually, yeah. We danced together, then he went to get me a drink. Why does he stick around and meet him? I'm sorry he loved you.
Younger Pegasus' eyes went wide, her mouth grinning so wide her mentor was sure her head was going to be split in half.
Really? I get to hang out with you and the Wonderbolt?
Rainbow Dust grinned.
Sure, why not? Come on, have a seat.
She said, motioning to one of the empty chairs. The young filly practically tackled her chair idle and she moused into, looking as a science of a heart-warming day.
Again with the heart attack!
At that point, Soren returned, carrying 2 mugs of the Apple family's quality cider. The family had always saved some to ferment in case of a special occasion, and they didn't get much more special than a royal wedding.
One drink for the lovely lady and...
He trailed out as he saw the wide-eyed filly.
Well, what do we have here? Weren't you one of the flower girls? You're a Wonderbolt!
Scootaloo exclaimed, apparently not having heard the question.
I am?
Soren said in mock surprise. He looked down at the medals on his uniform.
Well, what do you know?
Instantly, Scootaloo went into the kind of excited babbling she usually reserved for talking about Rainbow Dash.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool! How's that ski fly? Was it hard getting into Wonderbolts? When are you letting Rainbow Dash join?
The moment there's a spot open up, apparently. Rainbow Dash cringed, afraid his attitude would put Soren off. But he just laughed, putting a hoof on the bouncing filly's head.
Easy there. Remember to come up for air now.
He joked, letting her quiet down.
Well, I wasn't told I'd be treating 2 lovely mares tonight,
he said with a grin, causing Scootaloo to blush.
Wait here, I'll get another drink for her. Wait!
Rainbow started, but Soren knew what she was going to say.
Relax, non-alcoholic, I promise.
As the blue Pegasus took off for the buffet table, Scootaloo couldn't contain her glee.
I don't believe it! You were right! He really likes me!
The older Marissa smiled.
Was there any doubt? You're a cool kid.
After giving her #1 fan a chance to soak up the praise, she spoke again.
Hey, Scoots, I owe you an apology.
Young filly looked at her hero.
For what? For how I acted during that whole Gabby Gums thing.
Now Scootaloo was really puzzled.
What do you mean? We were wrong to gossip about you. You had every right to be mad. Yeah, what you did was wrong. I'm not saying otherwise. It's good that you learned your lesson, but I loved Gabby Gums before it was my turn to be gossip about. All of us did.
Except for Twilight, she thought, guilt raising her heart.
I really had no right to be angry with you as I did when I was laughing at everyone else before. Oh well, it's okay. But why are you bringing it up now?
The older man sighed.
Just everything that happened today. Doesn't worry about it, Pipsqueak. It's something between me and my friends.
Yours filly tilted her head in confusion, but nodded.
It's okay, Rainbow Dash. The whole thing was really our fault anyway.
Rainbow smiled, rubbing her head affectionately.
It's forgotten.
At that point, Soren returned to the table with another mug.
And 1 mug of apple juice for the little mare,
he said affectionately, passing the mug to the young foal. Scootaloo muttered a quick thank you, before taking the drink and having a sip.
So what? Are you RD's little sister?
Soren asked. The older man laughed.
See wishes. This is Scootaloo. I'm president of the Rainbow Dash Fan Club.
The Wonderbolt looked at an eyebrow in amusement.
Fan Club?
Rainbow Dash couldn't help but bless.
Yeah, she's the coolest. She's always flying around and doing cool things in the sky. And she's always helping out ponies in Ponyville. She saved it for 2 dragons, helped defeat Nightmare Moon and Discord, and now the Changelings.
That last name, a pain shot through her heart. She knew her help had amounted to ignoring a warning until it was too late, then of getting caught by an army just a few feet away from their goal.
Yeah, I know the last parts, but wait, you do?
Rainbow Dash asked, looking at her eye in shock.
Most ponies outside of Ponyville. Yeah, I know,
Soren said, the distaste in his voice obvious.
Most ponies in the Carolina upper class don't worry about anything besides social standings. They barely noticed anything about either of those guys, even though we were right near Equestria Falling.
It was true. Since Nightmare Moon had only shown up in Ponyville, to many of the citizens of Equestria, the night had only lasted a few extra hours. During Discord's short reign, the Mad God had fully been concerned with breaking the barriers of the elements. As a result, focused most of its efforts on Ponyville. His only other action being to trap Celestia and Luna within their castle, make sure they didn't run as fun. To many, the day was merely an inconvenience in not being able to access the castle. Soren shook his head in disgust.
It just ticks me off the way nobody around here seems to know who you guys are.
The mayor shrugged.
I don't really care what a bunch of prissy ponies think of me.
Soren nodded approval.
Still, you defeated 2 dragons? Was one of them that dragon that Spitfire and the others went to stop while I was busy at Cloudsdale?
He said. The Cyan Pegasus blushed once more.
No, not really. I mean, I tried to stop them both, but the credit goes to my friends Fluttershy and Rarity. And yeah, the Wonderbolts came and tried to stop the second one. I see. Well, aren't they both part of the team that stopped Nightmare Moon and Discord with you?
Rainbow Dash nodded, then turned to Scootaloo.
You need to remember, as cool as I am, I don't do everything alone. I know, but you're so awesome! You're the best flyer in Equestria! Well, yeah!
The Cyan Pegasus agreed, in a bit of a smug tone. Soren arched an eyebrow.
What about the Wonderbolts? Oh, you guys are cool too, Scootaloo said. And you'll be even cooler when Rainbow Dash joins!
You say like that there's no doubt, Soren said in amusement.
And you say that like you doubt me.
Rainbow Dash challenged right back.
Is there any doubt I'll be joining the team one day?
Wonderbolt just grinned.
I like your confidence,
he said, taking a sip of his cider.
That didn't answer my question.
Very perceptive, Soren agreed, and turned to Scootaloo.
I know plenty about Rainbow here. What about you? How's your flying?
Oh, the filly stuttered, caught off by the Wonderbolt's question.
I kinda haven't learned how to fly yet. Yeah, what's up with that?
Rainbow couldn't help but ask.
I mean, by your age, most Pegasi usually at least have some basic skills down. Haven't your parents taught you anything?
I'm sorry, I got an eye twist in the midst of Scootaloo's parents in this fic.
I hate them. I really do.
Scootaloo shifted, obviously looking uncomfortable.
They're busy,
she said slowly.
Too busy to teach you how to fly?
Soren asked incredulously.
Yeah?
The response was more than a question than an answer. The two older Pegasi saw each other a quick but clear look. Something was up.
Well then,
Rainbow Dash said slowly, putting a hoof on her shoulder.
How about I give you a few lessons when we get back to Ponyville? That's okay. You don't have to.
Rainbow's eyes opened and shot. Scootaloo looked for any excuse to be around her, and now she seemed almost unwilling to take a golden opportunity. Apparently, Scootaloo noticed the look on her idol's face.
Well, thanks for the drink, she said, quickly getting up. But I think I'll go see what Apple Bloom and Sweetie are up to.
With that, she dashed off before either of the older ponies could question her. There was a stunned silence from both of them. Finally, Soren spoke.
I take it that seems weird to you?
It did, Rainbow Dash agreed.
She was hiding of something. The way she ran off like that, she was panicking. I think so too, the Stallion agreed. A Pegasus parent too busy to teach their kid to fly? I've heard it before, but still. Her dad works for the mail service in Ponyville. He mostly does the out-of-town stuff, but given that Derpy does all the express, no-stop deliveries, I doubt he could be that busy. Besides, from what I understand, her mom just stays home. Have you ever met them?
Rainbow shook her head.
Never. Applejack and Rarity have. Their little sisters are her best friends. I learned everything about them from them. They both said they seem alright, but they haven't seen them much.
She paused, thinking a moment.
Come to think about it, she's never talked about her parents in front of me before.
Concern crept in her voice.
You think they're what making her act that way? I don't know, Soren admitted, but something's bothering her. I can tell. And I'm gonna find out what. Tomorrow, when we get back to Ponyville, I'll see what I can find out. I really hope this turns out to be nothing, Soren sighed. But if it is, she'll have you, right?
Rainbow's response down the Stallion. She dropped her ears and lowered her head. She tilted a mug of cider to her mouth, emptying its entire contents in one gulp.
Are you okay?
Rainbow Dash looked at the Stallion with sad eyes.
Can we go somewhere private to talk about it?
Both Pegasi rued the fact that a sunny day had been scheduled for the wedding, meaning there were no clouds for them to rest on. Instead, they had opted for Rainbow Suite at the castle. Laying down in a queen-sized bed, they both spent a moment examining the bed's canopy. Finally, Soren spoke.
Alright, what's up? Why are you so depressed?
Rainbow danced aside.
I let down a friend today.
Soren blinked.
Who? Twilight. You know, the pony who came in with the real Princess Cadence. She had seen right through that overgrown bug's disguise and tried to warn us during the rehearsal. And none of us believed her. We just told her off, then left her alone while we let the Changeling Queen get more powerful.
Soren looked uncertain what to say.
Well, I'm saying constellation. When she busted in during the first ceremony, I thought she was just some crazy mare until the real Cadence walked in. Yeah, but I know Twilight! Rainbow shouted. It would have been just me blindly believing her. She got the Tartarus to keep Equestria safe. Literally! She let Severus back there when he got out, and she's always been there for us. It's she we let her down.
Soren was quiet for a moment.
Is she mad at you? No.
Rainbow Dash answered, her voice trembling. She rolled on her side, back to the stallion.
That's the worst part. She forgave us all easily. Even told us that we had every reason to not believe her with how she accused the fake Cadence. She may be right about that. But that's not the real problem.
Soren looked at her like she just about to her head.
Okay. Maybe I don't follow small town logic very well, but I don't see how that's bad. What's the real problem? I wanted her to yell at me,
she said, very close to crying.
I wanted her to call us idiots. For her to tell us that we let her down. To make us move mountains to earn her forgiveness. Because that's what I would have done.
Very carefully, Soren put a hoof to the sinking mare.
After her outburst at the rehearsal, we all talked about what to do about it. I kept arguing she really messed up, that she needed to learn her lesson, and she had to do a lot to earn back her respect. Then when she busted in with the real princess, I felt like a complete jerk. We all did. The entire time we were writing for the Elements of Harmony, we were praying they would still work. We were all worried that Twilight had lost so much faith in us, her element would be useless. Then, before the reception, we went up to apologize. All of us were expecting to beg for her forgiveness, but she just brushed it off like it was no big deal.
To Soren's surprise, Rainbow Dash turned over, wrapping her front lobes around the stallion and pulling her close to him. It was momentarily taken back, but soon returned to the embrace, hoping to calm her down.
I'm supposed to wield the element of loyalty, but today I turned my back on a friend for someone I just met, and that friend proved she was more loyal to me. I thought I knew what loyalty was, but now...
Soren was quiet for a moment as he let his date cry softly. When the sobs slowed enough, he spoke.
Sounds like you're embarrassed by how you acted. I am, she choked. Well, that's all the proof that I need that you're a good friend.
Rainbow pulled away, looking at him.
What? I wouldn't trust anyone who was never ashamed of anything they did. It means they're not learning anything. A terrible friend would be pinning all the blame on Twilight and not on herself. Look, think of it as your flight training. Because I know you've trained for the Wonderbolts. You've crashed when you were trying to perform some of the more advanced moves. Several times, I'm guessing. Of course. It didn't make you a bad flyer to make those mistakes. It just meant your technique needed work. Now look, you could do the sonic reboot on command. If your performance after the ceremony was any indication. Well, your friends just work the same way. Today you crashed, but that doesn't mean you're a bad friend. It just means your technique needs a little work. Does that make any sense?
Rainbow Dash was silent for a moment.
Yeah. I don't feel much better, though. Wasn't expecting you to. The only place a few words can completely heal someone up is in Fantasyland. It takes time. Unfortunately for me.
Rainbow sighed, sitting up.
I'm sorry. Our first time really talking and I'm dumping all this on you. Must be the sire. Don't worry about it. I'm pretty sure PTSD is a good excuse for a bad first date.
Soren asserted, sitting up as well.
First date?
The mayor asked, hoping to sound coy, but hope crept into her voice.
Well, yeah. This was a date, wasn't it?
Rainbow Dash blushed again.
Yes?
Soren grinned.
Well, how about I drop by Ponyville next week? We'll get lunch. Really? Yeah! I mean, yeah, that's cool. Whatever.
Soren just smirked, seeing right through her attempts at being smooth.
So, you just want to stay here for a while? hang out and talk?
I would, she said, but I need to get back to the reception and see the bride and groom off. I owe them that much, but I wouldn't accept to another dance.
The stallion smiled. It would be my honor.
As the bear flew back down towards the reception, Rainbow Dash's thoughts turned back to Scootaloo. Images of the little filly squirming in her chair, afraid to tell her idol something, lingered in her mind. A month ago, she had made her fellow Cutie Marker stayers come crawling to her with an apology for making the subject of the gossip she had previously enjoyed. Seeing Twilight so readily forgive her for a much bigger mistake filled her with shame. But now she saw a chance for redemption.
Scootaloo had a problem.
It may just be one of those trivial little things that school fools let themselves get worked up over, or it could be something truly important that she was keeping from everyone for a foolish reason. It was the former. She helped her understand it was nothing to worry about. The latter, she helped her through it, exactly how she depended on the circumstances. But she figured something out, and hopefully a chance to make it up to Twilight, regardless of her insistence, would present itself. She looked at Soren flying beside her. For now, she enjoyed the evening. After it was over, she had work to do. Chapter 4. Rarity. Rarity had to be very careful. Very careful. If not, the second worst thing that happened during this entire trip, at the horrible way she would treat Twilight. It was spelled certain doom for her. After all, Prince Blueblood was not standing 5 feet from her. If he turned his head just a few inches to the left, she'd be spotted. Slowly she backed away, thankful the spoiled unicorn was too absorbed in Twilight seeking to notice her. Fortunately, she ended up backing into the side of another pony.
Oh, Rarity!
Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Seriously, every single time! So good to bump into you again, Fancy Pants chuckled. Ha ha ha! Though I must admit, I wasn't expecting it to happen so literally.
The white unicorn blushed, turning to face him. Oh, Fossy Pants, I'm so sorry. I was distracted, you see.
I did see, he asserted. To dear avoid Prince Blueblood, I take it. You've had a personal encounter with him.
Rarity gave a weak smile. Yes, the last Grand Galloping Gala I attended didn't quite land me the drink date I was hoping for.
The unicorn simply grinned. Yes, I heard of that. It made me regret having to miss the gala that year. Reports of a cake-covered mare really letting Blueblood have it were all over Canterlot. May you agree there was worth the effect being destroyed if it meant seeing that twit get his just desserts. But I didn't know that mare was you.
Rarity felt the blush creep back into her face. I didn't exactly want to advertise. I was grateful he didn't recognize me at any of the events I was invited to back when we met.
Fancy Pants nodded understandingly, adjusting his monku. Believe me, even Jet setting up a cross believe he is too self-assured. Well then, perhaps he will bother you if he sees you Darcy with a handsome gentlecoat. Or may I?
The purple mane blowing west. Would Fleur be angry?
Oh, don't worry, the stallion asserted. Fleur won't mind me dancing with a friend. Besides, the poor dear was feeling a bit under the weather, so she remained home.
Rarity smiled. It would be my honor. The pair was out on the dance floor before Twilight's first song was over, both of them moving with flowing grace to the end of the song, through Pinky's rendition of Equestria Girls, to Twilight once again taking back the microphone. Octavia then stepped up with her slow songs. The musical Earth Pony got through 3 songs of slow dancing, before a final scratch interrupted one of them midway through by switching to a more upbeat tone. Octavia glared at the unicorn, only gave a wicked grin while bobbing her head up and down. Finally, she rolled her eyes and stormed off, leaving the DJ to have free reign over the stage. At this point, the pair decided they had enough dancing and excused themselves from the dance floor, stopping to get 2 mugs of cider from the buffet table. The pair had a seat at one of the tables.
Well, I must say, your dancing is quite lovely.
You flatter me, Rarity replied. Now having her wits about her, she didn't blush at his compliments, merely batted her eyelashes flirtatiously. Fancy's Pants smiled coyishly, taking a sip of his cider.
So, tell me, what happened at the gala?
Despite all his high-class training, Fancy Pants was finding it difficult to suppress his laughter.
Ha ha ha! So, you actually smashed your glass slipper?
Well, I had been thinking clearly I would have simply picked it up, but the thought of seeing Blueblood again made me panic. Honestly, how does he even merit an invitation to so many events? The stallion just sighed.
He's a prince, one who will hardly do anything beyond his basic duties, but a prince nonetheless. Having him in your parties isn't good for any of those social climbers that make up most of the elite.
he noted, some disapproval in his voice. I swear, if they didn't contribute so much to my philanthropic pursuits, I wouldn't associate with them either. Rarity nodded understandingly. If Fancy Pants wasn't a prince, he might as well be. His constant charity work had greatly influenced a great deal of Equestria, to the point where Princess Celestia had commended him publicly. Well, would you look at that? Fancy Pants commented suddenly, looking up at the sky. Rarity turned up in that direction and gave a little gasp. After all, seeing one of her best friends flying off of a wonderbolt was not something that happened every day. Rainbow Dash? She asked out loud. Ah, yes, that's one of your friends, isn't it? She's a lucky mare, so it's quite difficult.
You know him personally?
Rarity asked, a bit surprised. Yes, he is a regular contributor to my charity events. Not so much for the high life, so he doesn't attend unless I request a show for the events. Still, he is a good stallion. Your friend is in good hooves. Rarity couldn't help but put on a sincere grin at her friend's fortune.
After the day we've had, I think he deserves pleasantries.
She couldn't help but muse. Yes, the Changeling invasion was quite harrowing. I can't imagine how you must be feeling after being in the middle of the whole thing. The Unicorn Mare sighed.
It's not so much that,
she began, but stopped. Observed this was something to bring up to an acquaintance such as him. Fancy Pants noticed his day's hesitation. You can tell me, he observed. You have been at the epicenter of the three biggest threats to Equestria in recent memory. Oh yes, I am aware of your accomplishments, even mostly or not. After all you have done, the least I can do is listen. Rarity was taken briefly aback by the fact that a pony outside of Ponyville was actually acknowledging her heroism before sighing. For the next few minutes, she told the upper-class stallion after what had happened that day. How Twilight had seen the problem coming. How all of them ignored her warnings. How they had left her to face the Changeling Queen heartbroken alone. And how she had been so quick to forgive them after such treatment.
She does admit she acted irrationally while trying to warn us, and that we were justified in not believing her. I can't say I don't see her logic, but I can't help but feel awful.
Fancy Pants nodded. Oh, that's understandable. Twilight sounds like a good friend to have. It's quite natural you feel bad at having hurt her. She sighed.
Do you remember that dress she wore at the garden party?
I do. It was very charming.
That wasn't the dress I intended to make for her. I had a whole ensemble planned with glorious feathers and enough shining sequins to make Sapphire Towers jealous. But I chose attending all those events you and the others invited me to, instead of finishing it.
Something you've regretted, I am guessing.
I do. It wasn't the only mistake I made. Looking back on that design again, it was all wrong for her. Glittery, frilly, a hat that covered her horn. She prides herself on her magic, you see. I wasn't thinking about her. I was just thinking about showing her ponies like Set and Upper Crust. When she saw that simple thing she was wearing, she loved it. Because it was so simple and practical.
She shook her head.
When I found out I was skipping out on her birthday to attend your garden party, she let me go with your blessing. She understood it was important for my business.
A good friend indeed, Fancy Pants agreed. And I take it today's events have made you feel guilt all over again. Rarity smiled sadly.
Indeed, but it's quite a bit worse than that.
Fancy Pants put on a puzzled expression. Go on.
Twilight's a dear, really. She's put up a lot from us. My whole mistake was just one instance. There have been other times when we let her down. And every time she's been quick to forgive us. Even today, when I made the same mistake months ago.
You feel like you let her down for the sake of your business again.
Exactly,
Rarity said simply.
It's what we are all thinking. I wanted my dresses to be worn at a royal wedding to generate more business. Applejack wanted the food grown on her farm to be tasted by the elite, to boost sales of her produce. Rainbow Dash wanted to perform her flying to get more notice from the Wonderbolts. Pinkie Pie wanted the honor of planning the reception, and perhaps was interested in the commission as well. She's a party planner for the bakery she works for, you see. At first I wanted to let the birds she trained perform before royalty. Twilight tried to assure us that we had every reason to doubt her. But I can't help but feel she's giving us too much credit for how badly we hurt her.
She stopped, even with her usual composure. It was hard to stop herself from sobbing again.
You had just seen her face, you'll understand. She looked as if we ripped her heart out. Honestly, when we went out to apologize, we were all bracing ourselves for an absolute volley of insults. I actually thought of a cock drop because I wanted to expect the poor dear to yell at us until her foot bled. But she was so calm and dismissive. Honestly, it made each and every one of us feel even worse.
I see, Fancy Pants nodded. Well, for what you describe, I say the average pony would be less forgiving.
Considering that there are other factors here that weren't present when we first met, must you really be so hard on yourself? So your self-analysis or shortcomings?
The mayor nodded. That has occurred to me, but it's not a thought that suits me very well.
She paused, wondering the best way to put this.
I'm the one who holds the enemy of generosity, so I guess I feel like I betrayed myself. Though I guess a lot of us did today.
She gave a bitter chuckle.
Rainbow Dash has the element of loyalty, yet she turned back on the friend in favor of some point she just met. Flutter's eyes the element of kindness, yet she coldly broke Twilight's heart along with the rest of us.
This how rubbed his shared thought. So, you think the others feel the way you do?
I know Rainbow Dash does, she replied. With how emotional she became during our party, it has to be that. She usually puts on a facade to toughness, you see. Really hates getting emotional. I'm not sure about the others at the moment, but I know they still feel guilty, regardless of their reasons why.
I see.
Fancy Pants nodded.
So I assume you're going to tell the others of your thoughts, and then sit down with them until you manage to talk this out.
I really don't see what else I could do, Rarity confirmed. I need to fully let everything out. No pony goes through this kind of guilt and heartbreak and comes out with no emotional baggage.
I should say not. But tell me, you said that Twilight herself believes she was responsible for not being believed. Do you think she might be harboring some guilt the same way you are?
Rarity opened her mouth to give her answer, only to stop when she realized she had none. I'm not sure. She seems so calm, but... Suddenly she wanted to kick herself over again.
How could I?
She trailed off in frustration, forgetting her upper-class manners. She lowered her head to the table. Oh, I don't believe myself. I was so relieved at being forgiven. The poor dear must be hurting thinking of how she lost control. Oh, how could I miss that?
Don't feel bad, St. Francis said. You're close to an emotional situation. I'm an outside observer. It's easier for me to see the big picture when I'm farther away. It's simple putting nature. Nothing to be ashamed of.
Rarity sighed. I suppose. Believe me, I know Twilight. She has a lot of pride in her intelligence, but very little in her worth as a friend, regardless of how a great one she is. When we first met, she overreacted to any little thing she thought might make us think less of her. I know that she's tearing herself up over this, or putting on a brave face for us.
Her date nodded in understanding. Well then, that's something else to discuss tomorrow. That's the best you could do, correct?
The mayor sighed. I suppose.
Tell me, are you worried about the future of your group of friends? Are you afraid that maybe you'll never recover from this?
Not in the slightest.
I know I said this before in the last video, but there's the fix. There, done. We're done. Okay, everybody go home now. Just go home. Story over.
Rarity asserted. With enough confidence that left no doubt in her date's mind. We're all very close, and we've had our finding outs. This isn't the first time our friendship has been tested, and Celestia knows it won't be the last. But we've always recovered splendidly. We'll make it through this.
Fancy Pants gave a warm smile. That is something of which I have no doubt.
She smiled at the compliment, then blessed. I'm terribly sorry. This is an inappropriate conversation for an event like this.
Quite all right, the stallion said. As I said, least I could do is give you a chance to get a few things off your chest.
Well, I do feel better talking to a third party, she admitted. Still, let's not dwell on this any longer. How have you been these last few months?
That's fine. My stocks are still up, and my last charity fundraiser managed to get some good money and raise for the better treatment of the donkeys and mules that live in Equestria. How about you? How is Carousel Boutique doing?
I just like to say, I think this is probably the longest I've ever done Fancy Pants. Just fabulous. Oh, those referrals I received from your party guests all really gave my business a boost. And hoity-toity even ordered another dozen items for a 6-fall line. And with me designing all the dresses for this wedding, I'm bound to get more business than ever. Maybe set up a little shop in Catalot. The Lazarus funny grin. This is exactly the opening he was looking for.
Actually, I was hoping to discuss with you.
Rarity blinked in surprise. You want me to commission for an outfit? She asked hopefully.
Exactly. I'm holding a charity auction to try and raise bits to help support the children in Zabrika. Dreadful conditions there, I'm afraid.
Yes, I'm aware, the mayor said. A zebra lives on the outskirts of Ponyville. She has told us the conditions of a country.
Insert your own Fallout Equestria joke here. Really?
Fancy Pants asked, generally surprised.
Such an unusual occurrence for Equestria. Zebras hardly leave their homeland.
Rarity nodded. I know what you mean. She We all assumed that she was a pony who painted stripes on herself at the time that she informed us otherwise.
Yes, many of the more rural areas of Equestria have never even heard of zebras.
It wasn't condescending, just a statement of fact.
Anyway, to rest us aside by the desire of the latest royal wedding will be ticket items. I was hoping to commission half a dozen from you. How quick can you have them ready?
I managed to make 6 dresses for my friends and myself in less than a week. I can manage an important order in the same amount of time.
Splendid! Then I will drop by Ponyville in about 10 days to pick up my purchase. And I would very much like to meet the zebra. What's her name?
Sakura. She was adopted by trade in Zubaika, and she still handles some of the more unusual cases in town.
Well, ask her if she can contribute anything to the auction. It is for her homeland, after all.
Rarity tilted her head at this. Would any pony in the upper class care for a genuine Zebraican artifact?
They would if it was worth having.
He replied simply. This time he did speak in a condescending tone. Not towards Rarity, however, but to the mindless conformity that constantly surrounded him. I suppose that's true. Anywho, assuming nothing unexpected happens, your orders should be ready by the time you arrive. I'll be ready for you. Will Fleur be coming with you?
Oh, yes. She is interested in seeing Ponyville. It would help her remind her of her hometown.
Rarity blinked. Wait, you mean Fleur's country pony?
Oh, yes. She comes from a small town very much like you. I first met her when she came to Catalan for some formal education. You see, she has always detested the way upper class tends to, and the majority, look down on other classes. She got her cutie mark when she realized she wanted to learn social and cultural studies in order to bring the classes together. So she came from her hometown to here. Even without a big city makeover, she is just as lovely as she is now.
The stallion sighed, smelling the memory of the first meeting with his wife. Okay, I'm adding this to the bets of fanfic authors that somehow could see the future. You see, in the Wonderbolts manual, Fleur really does come from a small town. Oh my, Rarity said, giggling at the thought. That sounds so romantic.
Indeed.
He sighed, still looking through his memories.
The first mare I ever met, who wasn't interested in me for my bits.
We fell in love so fast. Fancy Pants looked dreamily into space for a few moments, before remembering where he was. Once slightly, he readjusted his Wanko.
Forgive me. I tend to drift off when I'm thinking of that.
That's quite alright, Rarity asserted. After you listen to me ramble on about my situation with Twilight, I feel it's the least I can do.
Your stallion smiled appreciatively. Anywho, we'll be there in about 10 days. If you feel any more time, message me by fire, and we'll reschedule. Do you have a fireplace capable of doing that?
I do not, but Twilight's assistant Spike can send and receive messages the same way. It won't be a problem.
Excellent. Now, let me tell you a little about what I want in the order.
The 2 unicorns talked for the next hour over some specifics that would be appreciated in Rarity's designs. All throughout, however, the issue of Twilight lingered in the back of her mind. A nagging voice that wouldn't be drowned out, even by a prospect as exciting as getting a major client like Fancy Pants. When she first got the invitation to put a wedding, she was convinced it would be a night that would never end. Now she wanted nothing more than it to be over, for it to be the next morning, so she could get a chance to talk to her friend again, for them to be back at Ponyville, to get some assurance that things were back to normal between them.